want to get down to basic issues tonight with another physician, Dr. Andrew Baildon. Great to have you this evening. Surgical oncologist, Secretary, British Association of Cancer Surgery. I would love, Andy, to talk about your successes. Reconstructive surgery, oncology surgery. But we're, as you know, our theme is death. How do people cope and respond when you walk in and say, we've done everything we can, I'm sorry, there's nothing more?
Initially, there's often anger, disbelief, guilt, fear, and then a working through, almost like a whole process towards acceptance. But sometimes there's humor as well. Someone may say, well, I'm not going to make that trip to Canada next year. Do I get a refund? So the spirit even lifts at that stage. I need that too, because it's not easy to tell people that you've done everything you can.
I mean, what do you say to a patient once you've gotten past the there's nothing more we can do stage?
Well, usually the people I've got a relationship with as their surgeon anyway, so I often would have worked on them for some time, maybe even a number of years. So I know these people quite well. As I get more experienced in it, I take it much more informally.
Meaning?
Very personally, I will sit on the bed with them, put my arm around them, or even just touch their hand and say, look, I'm sorry, but there's something I've got to tell you today that you're not going to like. And this is what it is. And stop and ask if they want me to go over things again. But the important thing is always to say to them, look, I can't predict what's going to happen. There is always a little window of hope that's open there.
So you don't take hope away. You don't say
Not
you've
at
got
all.
3 weeks or 3
all.
months. Or...
Someone will say, come on, be honest with me, what is it? And I'll say, well, you have only a 10% chance of being alive in 18 months' time. But you can't be 10% alive. You're either 100% alive or you're not.
I like that. That's good.
And I will say that myself and my team will do everything we can to keep them in that 10%. But the reality is that if things don't go that way, we'll do everything that we can to stay close to them and to help them through it.
What are the differences in the way that different kinds of people take the news?
That's interesting. It depends on their relationships and their own faith. And I will say to them, who do you have at home to support you? They know what I mean. I mean, you know, it may sometimes be just a relationship with a pet, but they know what I mean. And I say, what faith do you have? And do you have any support from your church or from your fellow believers? And sometimes that will help them open up a lot. Interestingly, it seems to be the older person without faith and without relationships that stays in denial.
That has the hardest time coping with it.
And I will say, as I see them in the clinic, look, I said to you last time things aren't good and they're now even worse. And they'll say, yeah, but you're really pleased with my progress, aren't you?
Just total denial.
They're creating a lie for me, wanting me to feed back into that lie. Whereas the younger person, particularly the one with responsibilities, maybe with children who are growing up, it seems they work through that and they get that peace and that calmness sometimes easier and quicker. And I find that amazing, the resources that come out.
Andy, I'm alive, and I'm not expecting to die tomorrow.
Good.
But you bet it's good. I hope. But what would you tell me? How could I go on living in a way that would prepare me for death?
Celebrate life.
Celebrate
every
life.
minute.
All right.
The intensity, the colors, the tastes, the smells, the warmth of relationships, the love in other human beings traveling the same journey.
That is beautiful advice, absolutely beautiful advice. How do you cope, though? Because it must be telling on you. You're surrounded by this all the time.
I try and take that advice to myself. I work hard and I play hard. I do lots of sports. I have a faith of my own, which I'm active in. I have a wonderful wife, Eileen, and 2 children who are tremendous support to me. And many times in the late hours, Eileen will just absorb everything that's spilling over from me from the day, and that's wonderful.
Because in the end, life or death, relationships remain the key, don't they?
Absolutely.
Right at the core.
Absolutely.
Dr. Andy Baildon, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
Dr. Andy Baildon. Good to have you. Thank you for coming.